Welcome to Coins Hunter USA, the ultimate destination for rare American coins and hidden treasures hiding in your pocket change. If you're passionate about collecting US coins, spotting valuable errors, and discovering history through copper and silver, you're in the right place. In today's exciting video, we're taking a closer look at one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Lincoln penny, 1-cent coin. It might seem like an ordinary piece of change, but some of these coins are worth thousands of dollars due to rare mint errors, low mintage, and hidden secrets most people never noticed. So coin lovers, sit back, grab your magnifier, and stay with us till the end, because this little penny could surprise you with a big story and an even bigger price tag. Let's get started. Today we're zooming in on the 1971 Lincoln penny and uncovering why a single cent from this unassuming year can ignite bidding wars, fuel collector obsessions, and leave sellers grinning ear to ear. Let's roll back to 1971, an era of moonshot optimism and muscle cars thundering down American highways. The Vietnam War still raged, Walt Disney World opened its gates, and the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco was cranking out billions of copper pennies for vending machines from coast to coast. Pennies were 95% copper back then, rich, hefty little discs that still rang like tiny bells on a countertop. Because mintage numbers soared past 6 billion, most 1971 cents lived rough lives, rattling in pockets, clanking in soda machines, rubbing raw against each other inside bank bags. Finding a flawless example today is already a challenge, but the real excitement comes from the quirky missteps that slipped through quality control. First, there's Philadelphia's double die obverse. Under a jeweler's loupe you'll see President Lincoln's profile look perfectly normal, yet the date, liberty, and especially the bold, "In God We Trust," exhibit shadow-like doubling. The letters almost appear to vibrate. This is no optical illusion, it's a classic Class II double die caused when the design hub shifted slightly during a second squeeze against the working die. Only a handful of strong examples surfaced, and most were scooped up by roll hunters decades ago. Today, seeing one raw in the wild is like spotting a bald eagle perched on your mailbox. Denver got in on the action, too. Although the 1971 D double die varieties are subtler, look for split serifs on the D mint mark or a step-like outline on the date. Because Denver struck over 2.9 billion pennies, these rarities hide among oceans of ordinary copper, meaning diligence and sharp eyesight can still pay dividends. San Francisco, though, may have produced the heavyweight champ. Proof sets sold directly to collectors in '71 include a small date, large date, and the superstar, the 1971 S double die obverse, catalogued as FS101. On that coin, 1 cent on the reverse appears thickened and almost 3D, while United States of America looks like it's printed twice. Proof mirrors magnify every microscopic line, turning the doubling into an art exhibit under bright light. Combine that eye-popping error with cameo frost across Lincoln's bust, and you've got a museum-grade showpiece. Condition, as always, is the make-or-break factor. Copper loves to oxidize, so spots, fingerprints, or even a 5-second brush against moisture can erase hundreds of dollars in value. Collectors dream about blazing red coins graded MS67RD or PR69DCAM. Those RD and DCAM designations certify that original mint luster hasn't turned chocolate brown. Out of billions struck, only a microscopic fraction survive in that fiery state. Picture a school gymnasium filled wall-to-wall with every 1971 penny ever minted. Maybe, one coin in that sea would glow with perfect, unblemished, neon-red brilliance. Then come the pure accident errors, off-center strikes where part of the design is sheared away, clipped planchets that look like someone took a bite out of the rim, broad strikes that swell like pancakes, and wrong planchet strikes where a Lincoln design lands on a thinner dime blank. Each error transforms an everyday cent into an instant conversation piece. Combine a high-grade coin with a wild misstrike, and auction houses start to buzz. Why does the 1971 date hold special magnetism for collectors? It sits at the cusp of modern times, old enough to be copper, but recent enough that error hunting feels attainable. Baby boomers stash them for nostalgia, Gen X remembers them from allowance money, and Gen Z YouTubers scour coin rolls hoping to fund tuition. The romance of discovering a King of Errors coin in circulation keeps the hunt alive. So how do you know if your 1971 penny is the golden ticket? Grab a strong 10 times loop, bright daylight, and patience. Tilt the coin slowly. Does the date show shelf-like separation? Do the letters of Liberty look thick and split at the ends? Flip it over. Does the Lincoln Memorial central statue appear doubled? Next, inspect the fields for deep red luster or cameo frosting on proofs. Any off-center design? A weird bite out of the rim? Document everything with crisp photos, then send the coin to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. Slabbed authentication is the difference between pocket change and auction spotlight. Now, brace yourself. Because if that 1971 Lincoln cent in your hand boasts pristine red surfaces, a dramatic double die obverse, and pops out of the grader's holder with a top population gem designation, its hammer price can skyrocket to $65,000. Top 2. We're going deep into the heart of one of the most famous and valuable modern U.S. coins ever struck by mistake, the 1972 Lincoln penny. This is not just your average coin you toss into the tip jar. Oh no, this particular penny, if you've got the right one, could be worth an absolutely jaw-dropping $70,000. That's right, one small copper coin, hiding in plain sight, with a value that could change your financial life. So grab your magnifying glass, settle in, and let's take a journey through time, minting history, errors, rarity, and value. Because this is a coin you'll want to understand, inspect, and maybe even hunt for after watching this video. Let's begin with a look at the year itself, 1972. America was going through a whirlwind of change. President Nixon was in office, the Cold War was tense, the Vietnam War raged on, and Apollo 16 had just landed on the moon. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint was hard at work, producing billions of coins to feed the nation's economy. Among those coins were over 5.5 billion Lincoln cents struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which at the time didn't use a mint mark. That's a staggering number, and it's why most people believe the 1972 penny is common, ordinary, even boring. But here's where it gets fascinating. Hidden within that massive mintage were a few thousand coins that featured one of the boldest and most dramatic errors in American numismatic history, a double die obverse. So what exactly is a double die? In simple terms, it's a minting mistake. During the creation of coin dies, which are the metal pieces that stamp the design onto the coin, a die can accidentally receive a second impression slightly misaligned with the first. This creates a doubled image on the coins that the die later strikes. That doubling is then transferred onto every coin the faulty die touches, resulting in thousands of coins carrying that mistake. Now here's the magic of the 1972 double die penny. It's bold. You don't need a microscope. You don't need years of experience. If you've got the right coin, you can see it with the naked eye. The words, "In God We Trust," across the top, "Liberty," to the left of Lincoln, and the date, 1972, all show strong, unmistakable doubling. It looks like the letters were stamped twice, slightly apart, giving them a shadow-like or echoing effect. This is called the FS 101 variety, and it is the king of 1970s Lincoln penny errors. FS stands for 5S Stanton, the coin reference system used to catalog varieties. FS 101 is the most dramatic and most valuable of all the double die varieties for the 1972 cent. But wait, there's more. There isn't just one double die variety from 1972. In fact, there are 10 known double die obverse varieties for that year. However, most of them are minor. Only a couple are noticeable without magnification. But FS 101 is the big one, the star of the show, the variety that collectors drool over and auction houses fight to sell. Now let's talk about rarity. Yes, over 5 billion pennies were minted in 1972. But only an estimated 20,000 to 25,000 of the double die variety were ever released into circulation. And of those, only a small percentage have survived in mint state, or uncirculated condition. The rest have been worn down over the decades, lost, or damaged beyond collector interest. And here's the part that will make any collector's heart race. Among the certified examples, those professionally graded by services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, very few have achieved grades of MS-65 red or higher. That grade refers to the coin being in mint state, MS, with full original red luster, RD, and minimal blemishes. These coins are the best of the best that in fact, as of today, there are only a handful of known 1972 double-die Lincoln cents graded MS-67 red, and when they appear at auction, bidding becomes a battle of giants. These are the coins that can command prices in the tens of thousands, and in the right conditions, even higher, but this isn't just about the famous FS 101 error. The 1972 Lincoln penny also has other rare traits that collectors search for. Let's break down a few more. Off-center strikes. These coins were not properly aligned during the strike, causing part of the design to be missing. Some 1972 pennies were struck 5%, 10%, even 30% off-center. The more dramatic the error, especially when combined with visible date, the more valuable it becomes. Clipped planchets. Occasionally, a penny was struck on a blank piece of metal that wasn't cut properly. This results in a curved chunk missing from the coin, making it appear as though someone took a bite out of it. A clean clipped planchet from 1972 can fetch impressive sums. Die cracks and cuds. These are signs of worn-out or broken dies used to strike the coin, resulting in raised lines or blobs of metal in places they don't belong. These errors make each coin unique and are growing in popularity among modern collectors. Proof versions from San Francisco. Although the most famous double die came from Philadelphia, 1972 proof sets were struck at the San Francisco Mint. These coins have mirror-like fields and frosted details. A 1972 S-proof penny with deep cameo contrast and flawless surfaces can also be worth hundreds or even thousands, especially in PR69 DCAM grades. Now, before we reveal the final price, let's talk about the passion that drives collectors toward coins like the 1972 penny. It's not just about money. It's about history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of the hunt. Every coin tells a story. Every tiny copper disc is a piece of a much larger puzzle. And when a rare error sneaks through the mint's quality control and finds its way into your hands, it feels like you've uncovered buried treasure. So now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1972 Lincoln penny featuring the FS 101 double die obverse, and it has been professionally graded in mint state red condition, especially MS-66 or MS-67, you could be holding a coin worth a staggering $70,000. That's right, $70,000. For a coin that once sat in someone's pocket as loose change. So don't ignore those pennies. Dig into your jars, your change drawers, your inherited coin collections. That ordinary-looking 1972 cent could be the key to an incredible payday. Top 3. We're talking about the United States Lincoln penny from the year 1973, a coin most people would toss aside, not knowing it could be worth a shocking amount of money. But here's the twist: under the right conditions, with the right error, and in the right grade, a single 1973 Lincoln cent has sold for up to $78,000. Yes, you heard that right. From 1 cent to $78,000. So, buckle up and pay close attention, because we're about to uncover the fascinating story of this coin, its background, minting varieties, rare errors, and why collectors all over the world are chasing after this little copper beauty. Let's take a step back into time. The year is 1973. America was recovering from the political tremors of Watergate, troops were slowly returning from Vietnam, and gas was just 40 cents a gallon. The world was changing, but the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln remained steady on the U.S. penny, just as it had since 1909. The mint was busy meeting the growing needs of a fast-moving economy. In total, over 5.8 billion Lincoln cents were struck in 1973 between the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. With such a high mintage, it's easy to assume the 1973 penny is common, and in many ways, it is. But as every serious collector knows, the key isn't just how many were made, it's how many were made with errors, varieties, or in perfect condition. And when it comes to the 1973 penny, there are more than a few surprises waiting to be discovered. Let's begin with one of the biggest reasons this coin can reach enormous value: mint errors. although the 1973 penny doesn't have a famously recognized double die like the 1972, there are still extremely rare and valuable error types that slipped through the mint's inspection process that year. These include: 1. Off-center strikes. Some 1973 pennies were struck significantly off-center, meaning the design was misaligned when the coin was struck. A perfectly off-center coin, with a 40 to 60% strike and a visible date, can be a collector's dream. Combine that with excellent condition and you've got something truly special. Point 2. Clipped planchets. In a clipped planchet error, part of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during the blank cutting process. These coins appear as if someone took a bite out of them. A clean clip, especially if it doesn't affect the date or Lincoln's portrait, increases value. Point 3. Broad strikes and wrong planchet errors. Some 1973 cents were struck without the retaining collar, causing the coin to spread out and appear larger than normal. Even rarer are cases where a 1973 Lincoln design was struck on a blank intended for another denomination, like a dime. These are dramatic and rare errors that serious collectors go crazy over. Point 4. Die breaks and cuds. When the dies used to strike coins begin to crack or break, they can leave behind raised bumps, blobs, or lines on the coin, especially near the edges. These cuds are fascinating to collectors because each one is unique. The more dramatic the die break, the more desirable the coin becomes, but errors aren't the only thing that makes the 1973 Lincoln penny valuable. Condition, also known as grade, plays a huge role. The majority of 1973 cents entered circulation almost immediately. They passed through countless hands, jiggled in millions of pockets, scraped through vending machines, and collected years of wear. That's why finding one in mint state condition is exceptionally rare. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to measure a coin's condition. For modern pennies, anything graded MS 65 red or above is considered extremely desirable. Red refers to the original color of the copper, indicating the coin hasn't oxidized or turned brown. A 1973 penny that retains its bright red luster and has no scratches, nicks, or handling marks can bring massive premiums, even without an error. Now, let's not forget about proof coins from San Francisco, which carry the S mint mark. These were struck using specially polished dies on highly reflective planchets and sold directly to collectors in proof sets. A 1973 S-proof penny with a deep cameo appearance and a grade of PR 69 or PR 70 can be very valuable, especially if it shows any minting anomalies like doubling, frost breaks, or machine doubling on the letters or date. Many collectors are still unaware of the potential that lies in the 1973 Lincoln penny, making it a bit of a sleeper coin in the numismatic world. Unlike more publicized years like 1969 S or 1972, the 1973 penny still quietly hides in rolls, jars, and old collections, waiting to be discovered. If you have the patience to examine your change, or if you inherited an old coin hoard, it might just be worth checking each penny, because lightning does strike, and treasure still hides in plain sight. So, how do you know if your 1973 penny is valuable? Start with a good light source and a strong magnifying glass. Look closely at the date and lettering. Any doubling, cracks, or unusual spacing could be signs of a mint error. Next, check for color. If the coin still has a bright, fiery red tone and shows no signs of wear, you could have a high-grade specimen. Then, look at the shape. Is the strike off-center? Are any parts missing? Are there blobs near the rim? All of these details could point to something extraordinary. Finally, if you suspect you've got a valuable coin, consider sending it to a professional grading company. Authentication and encapsulation can protect your investment and allow you to sell it for its true market value. Now, the part you've all been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1973 Lincoln penny with a rare mint error, struck in perfect condition, preserved with full red luster, and authenticated by a top grading service, its value could reach as high as $78,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $78,000. That's the kind of life-changing money that no one expects to come from a penny, and yet, for some lucky collectors, that's exactly what happened. So the next time you come across a 1973 penny in your change, don't overlook it. That tiny copper coin might just be hiding a secret that could change your life. Top 4. We're unlocking the incredible story of the United States Lincoln penny from the year 1974, a small copper coin that may look ordinary but could be worth far more than you'd ever expect. So grab a seat and listen carefully. This is one coin that could turn a single cent into a small fortune. At first glance, the 1974 Lincoln penny doesn't appear to be anything special. Over 8 billion of these were minted between the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. They were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, the standard alloy used before the Great Composition Change in 1982. They were produced in massive quantities and widely circulated across the country. So what's the big deal? Well, here's where the story gets really interesting. Despite its high mintage, the 1974 Lincoln penny hides some very rare and valuable secrets that coin collectors have been chasing for decades. From experimental metals to dramatic mint errors and stunning high-grade examples, the 1974 cent stands out in the world of numismatics for more reasons than one. Let's start with one of the most fascinating and mysterious aspects of this coin, the 1974 aluminum penny. Yes, you heard that right. In the early 1970s, the United States Mint was exploring ways to reduce the cost of coin production. Copper prices were rising, and the mint was experimenting with alternative metals. In 1974, they struck over 1.5 million Lincoln cents using aluminum, intending to release them for circulation. But that plan was abandoned due to strong objections from various industries, including vending machine manufacturers and the medical field, where aluminum coins could interfere with X-rays and equipment. Most of those experimental aluminum pennies were recalled and melted down, but a few escaped. As of today, only a handful of 1974 aluminum cents are believed to still exist, and they're considered unauthorized to own, making them incredibly controversial and valuable. While you're not likely to legally own one, this rarity adds historical mystique to the 1974 penny series and fuels collector fascination. But even beyond the aluminum trial, there are many valuable and collectible varieties of the 1974 copper penny that are perfectly legal and can be worth thousands, especially if they contain major mint errors or are found in mint state condition. Let's go through some of the most exciting error types and features that can elevate an ordinary 1974 penny into something extraordinary. 1. Double die varieties. Though not as famous as the 1972 double die, some 1974 pennies do show signs of minor doubling on the obverse, particularly on the lettering such as Liberty and In God We Trust. If you spot clean, visible doubling with no signs of machine doubling, you may have a legitimate variety. These coins are worth significantly more than face value. 2. Off-center strikes. Some 1974 cents were struck off-center due to improper alignment during minting. If the off-center is dramatic, 10%, 20%, even 50%, and the date is still fully visible, the coin becomes both rare and valuable. The more off-center while retaining date legibility, the higher the demand. 3. Broad strikes and die breaks. A 1974 penny struck outside of the coin collar can spread out in an unusual way, creating a broad, flat look. Others show die cracks or cuds, where part of the die broke off, leaving blobs or lines on the coin's surface. These unique features make every coin a one-of-a-kind collectible. 4. Clipped planchets. This rare error happens when the blank metal disc is improperly cut, leaving a curved or straight clip missing from the coin's edge. A clean clipped planchet with a visible date and no damage adds serious collector appeal. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where even a regular 1974 penny can become a top-dollar coin. Most of these coins were used and abused in circulation, spending decades inside piggy banks, change drawers, vending machines, and pockets. As a result, high-grade examples are hard to find. But if you happen to own a 1974 Lincoln cent in mint state, with full red color and zero wear, its value can skyrocket. When a 1974 penny is graded MS-65 red or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, and especially if it also includes an error or variety, the value leaps into the thousands. Collectors prize coins with deep, fiery copper-red luster, untouched by oxygen, fingerprints, or moisture. The redder and cleaner the penny, the better the chance it'll fetch top dollar. And let's not forget about proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, marked with the S Mint mark. These were struck with extra care for collectors and often show stunning contrast between the mirrored background and frosted details, especially on Lincoln's portrait. A flawless 1974 S-proof penny with deep cameo contrast, free from scratches or spots, can also be worth several hundred to thousands of dollars depending on the grade and rarity. So now you may be wondering, how do you know if your 1974 penny is special? Here's what you should do. Start by checking the mint mark. Look for D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mint mark for Philadelphia. Examine the coin under a strong light and magnifier. Look for doubling, cracks, cuds, or off-center strikes. Assess the color. Is it bright red? Has it been handled or scratched? If it looks promising, send it to a trusted grading company for professional certification, because even if your coin looks ordinary, you never know what it might really be worth, until you look closely. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you are lucky enough to find a 1974 Lincoln penny with a rare error or variety, and it's in high-grade mint state red condition, your coin could be worth an incredible $84,000, yes, $84,000 for a 1-cent coin that could be hiding right in your home. So don't ignore those pennies. Dig into those old jars, check your inherited coin albums, and pay extra attention to every Lincoln cent you come across. You just might discover a hidden fortune. Top 5. We're digging deep into a coin that may look like every other Lincoln cent at first glance, but it could be worth more than you ever imagined. We're talking about the United States of America Lincoln penny from the year 1975, a 1-cent coin that holds the potential to be worth nearly $100,000. So, sit tight, coin lovers. Listen carefully. Because by the end of this video you'll know exactly why the 1975 penny is more than just a copper coin, it's a piece of hidden American history. Let's start with the basics. The 1975 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's classic bust of Lincoln, a design so iconic it's remained largely unchanged for over a century. The reverse, during the 1975 mintage, still featured the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, a tribute to the monument in Washington. In total, more than 10 billion 1975 pennies were minted across Philadelphia and Denver, the Philadelphia coins with no mint mark, and the Denver coins bearing a small D beneath the year. That's right, no coins were minted at San Francisco for circulation that year. With such a high mintage, you might be asking, how could a coin like this be rare? The answer lies in a combination of mint errors, die varieties, and exceptional preservation. Let's begin with what makes some 1975 Lincoln cents so incredibly valuable: mint errors. A collector's dream. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins each year, and although quality control is strict, mistakes happen. And when they do, collectors are the first to take notice, especially when the error is dramatic or rare. 1. Off-center strikes. One of the most desirable errors in the 1975 penny series is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank planchet isn't properly centered between the dies. The result? A coin that appears cut off or shifted, with part of the design missing. A 10% or 15% off-center strike is interesting, but if the coin is 40% to 60% off-center and still shows the date clearly, it becomes highly valuable. 2. Double dies, subtle, but powerful. Though not as famous as the 1955 or 1972 double die pennies, there have been confirmed reports of minor doubling in 1975, especially on the obverse lettering. Look closely at "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or even the date itself. If you see doubling that is not machine-related, you may be holding a rare double die obverse, DDO, and collectors will pay handsomely for those. 3. Clipped planchets. This error happens when the blank coin is punched out from the metal strip incorrectly, resulting in a curved or straight section missing. Clean clipped planchets from 1975, especially with the full date visible and no post-mint damage, are highly sought after. 4. Die breaks and cuds over time. The dies that strike coins wear down. Sometimes, they break. This causes die cracks or cuds, raised metal blobs where parts of the design are missing. These aren't flaws, they're mint-made abnormalities, and to collectors, they're golden, but what really sends the value of a 1975 penny skyrocketing is grade and color. Most 1975 pennies entered circulation almost immediately, collecting years of wear and tear. They've been tossed in jars, passed through countless hands, and rolled up into bank sleeves. But a few, a rare few, were preserved from day one. Stored carefully, untouched, and protected from oxidation, these are known as mint state red coins, and they are the crown jewels of penny collectors. Ms. 65 red and above, the holy grail when a 1975 penny is professionally graded by companies like PCGS or NGC and receives a grade of Ms. 65 red or higher, its value increases exponentially. Coins at this level show full, fiery copper red color, no fingerprints, no scratches, no toning. They shine like the day they were struck. The difference between a circulated 1975 penny and a high-grade red mint state penny can be thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars, and it gets even better when a high-grade coin also has an error. Imagine finding a 1975 penny that's 50% off-center, has a strong red luster, and is graded Ms. 66 or higher. Combine that with a visible mint mark and a known double die variety, and you're talking about a coin so unique it might only exist in a handful of examples. These are the kinds of coins that spark bidding wars at auction houses and get passed from collector to collector as prized pieces. So how do you know if your 1975 penny is special? Here's your checklist. Look at the color. Is it red, brown, or red-brown? Red is best. Examine the coin closely under magnification. Look for doubling, cracks, or chips. Check if it's off-center or has clipped edges. See if it's uncirculated, meaning no wear at all, only bag marks or contact from other coins. If it looks promising, submit it to PCGS or NGC for grading and authentication. Even a penny with a slight mint error in high grade can be worth hundreds. But when all the elements come together, error, rarity, grade, and I appeal, that one little cent can be worth a small fortune. And now, the moment every coin enthusiast waits for, the big reveal. One such 1975 Lincoln penny, discovered with a major mint error, preserved in stunning red mint state condition, and authenticated by a top-tier grading company, recently sold to a private collector for a jaw-dropping $98,000. That's right. A coin worth just 1 cent when it was minted in 1975 is now valued at $98,000. So the next time you empty your pocket, check the bottom of a coin jar, or stumble upon old change in a relative's drawer, don't overlook the pennies. Because among them could be one of the rarest coins of the 1970s, waiting for the right eyes to notice. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more deep dives into rare coins, historic mint errors, and jaw-dropping coin values, hit that like button, subscribe to Coins Hunter USA, and ring the bell so you never miss another hidden treasure. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting, and good luck on your hunt.